Oh Lord the gods, they are the works of men. You are the only true God. There is none like you. Oh Lord the gods, they are the works of men. You are the only true God. There is none like you. Oh Lord the gods, they are the works of men. You are the only true God. There is none like you. Oh Lord the gods, there are the works of men. You are the only true God. There is none like you. Oh Lord the gods, they are the works of men. You are the only true God. There is none like you. Oh Lord the gods, they are the works of men. You are the only true God. There is none like you. Covenant keeping God. There is no one like you. Alpha Omega. There is no one like you. Covenant keeping God. There is no one like you. Alpha Omega. There is no one like you. Covenant keeping God. There is no one like you. Alpha Omega. There is no one like you. Covenant keeping God. There is no one like you. Alpha Omega. There is no one like you. Oh Lord the gods, they are the works of men. You are the only true God. There is none like you. All other gods, they are the works of men. You are the only true God. There is none like you. All other gods, they are the works of men. You are the only true God. There is none like you. Covenant keeping God. There is no one like you. Alpha Omega. There is no one like you. Covenant keeping God. There is no one like you. Alpha Omega. There is no one like you. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb that was slain. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb that was slain. Worthy is the Lamb. Oh, Jesus is the Lamb that was slain. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Oh, worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Oh, worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. You are worthy, O Lord. You are worthy, O Lord. You are worthy, O Lord. You are worthy to be praised. You are worthy, O Lord. You are worthy, O Lord. You are worthy, O Lord. You are worthy to be praised. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain. Jesus is the Lamb. You are worthy, O Lord. You are worthy, O Lord. You are worthy, O Lord. You are worthy to be praised. Covenant keeping God, there is no one like you. Alpha Omega, there is no one like you. Hello, hello, Capsden. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the live stream. I am so happy to have you, so blessed to have you this morning. How are you doing? How are you doing today? Emitonia is in the building. Welcome, Emitonia. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here today. Welcome, welcome. Today, guys, I am in the new generation. I am streaming in another dimension today. Did you guys notice any change? Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Don't forget to thumbs up the host. Thumbs up the host. Please share me out if you can. Thank you so much for coming. Pops, then thank you so, so much. God bless you, bless you, bless you. Thank you. Pelly K is in the building. Welcome to the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I appreciate you coming here. Welcome to the building. Today, our topic is what is marriage covenant? Maybe what is a marriage covenant? I'll edit that. What is a marriage covenant? Did you make one when you got married? So, guys, thank you so much. Comes then says yes. We see the picture. Do you guys hear me well? BB Physio Food. Hello, host. Welcome, BB. So happy to have you here today. I am so glad to have you. Welcome to the live stream, BB. I appreciate you coming. Thank you so much for coming. Love is in the air. Thank you so much. Host, where are you hiding? I am not hiding. I am just trying something new. I am not hiding. Emitone, I know I cannot hide, right? Cause then says, welcome everyone. Please remember to thumbs up the host and share, stream out if you can. Thank you so much, Cubs, and I appreciate that. We hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much, Cubs. Then I can't take that credit, right? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And today our topic is what is a marriage covenant? Excuse me. And did you make one when you did you make a marriage covenant? So usually I bring out a topic for chat and then we hear what you say about it and we also hear what the word of God say about it. And then that way I learn and I hope you also learn something. Bibi, you thought Cubs is on holiday. I know, right? She has not released lately. So far, she has been very busy. Thank you guys so much for coming. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming. Let me share myself out. Thank you for coming. Esther's Corner! Esther's Corner is in the building. Esther Corner says, hello, host. Thank you so much, Esther Corner, for coming. I appreciate you. Where have you been? You've been missing too. Thank you so much. I'm happy to see you here. Julie Isse is in the building. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see you. Hello, everyone. Julie Ise, how are you doing today? Thank you for joining us here. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. Today, our topic is what is a marriage covenant? Did you make one? What do we understand by a marriage covenant? What do you understand by a marriage covenant? Greetings, Abbott, Esther Corner. I miss you all. Yes, Esther Corner, you've been away for a while. Today, our topic is what is a marriage covenant? When we bring our topics, we hear what you have to say about it, and we also hear what the Word of God has to say about it. That way, I learn, and I hope you learn something too. Julie Isese, greeting, consistent place. Good morning. Thank you, my dear. I appreciate you for being here today. I don't take you for granted. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate you. Cops then is welcoming everyone. Thank you so much. Yeah, so we are going to dive right away into our topic. We have 9 amazing people in the building, and how many thumbs up? We have 4 thumbs up. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here today. Who else is in the building? Pearly K is here. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming. So, what is a marriage covenant? What is a marriage covenant? A marriage covenant is an agreement which brings about a relationship of commitment between man and God. A marriage covenant is an agreement that brings about a relationship of commitment between man and God. Host, this couple are very beautiful. Oh, yeah, those are my little, that's my baby bro and his wife. Yeah, so thank you so much, Bibi. A marriage covenant is an agreement that brings about a relationship between God and man. What do you all think? What do you all think? What is a marriage covenant? Yeah. What is a marriage covenant? According to you, what is a marriage covenant? A marriage covenant is an agreement which brings about a relationship of commitment between man and God. Marriage is something that God has always, um, let me say it this way, that marriage is something that was God's idea in the beginning. God instituted the institution of marriage. God made established marriage by Himself. God made the first marriage celebration Himself in the Garden of Eden. I agree with that definition: husband, wife, and God relationship. Yeah, thank you, Cubs. Then I appreciate. Marriage. The covenant of marriage. The difference between a covenant of marriage is like a contract with God's seal on it. Yeah. A covenant is like a contract with God's seal on it. A contract is between two parties. A covenant is between husband, wife, and God. Yeah, if there is no God in it, it is not a covenant. And we see that if we have to ask ourselves what is a covenant, we see that a covenant, before being a marriage covenant, is something that involves relationship. And usually covenants have characteristics, or if I can say properties. You see that a covenant is a legal and divine it's a legal and divine agreement. God is involved in the covenant. It's established by God. It's governed by divine authority. That's a covenant. Sometimes many people go into marriage without actually really understanding what a covenant is. And when you do not understand what a covenant is, and you are in front of the minister declaring declaring this because you have butterflies in your eyes that saying, do you accept to take X and Y as your lovely wedded in sickness, in health, to love and to cherish, for better, for worse? You are so full with butterflies in your heart that you are just reciting that will do whatever. But at that time, you are thinking honeymoon, but God is thinking covenant. You are entering into a covenant relationship. Bibi says husband, wife, God, only if done in the right way. Bibi also says, not come, we stay and see how it's going to be. Julie says, say greeting Emitonia, Esther, Kona, and Bibi. Thank you so much, Bibi Physio Food. He says the husband and wife and God only if done in the right way. Thank you so much for bringing that up, Bibi Physio Food, because we realize that, like we were saying, that covenant has characteristics attached to it. It is a legal and divine agreement governed by God Himself, governed by God's hierarchy or God's authority. If we see in Corinthians, if we see in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, we see that there is this divine authority set up by God. God is the head of Christ, the head of Christ is the head of the church, or Christ is the head of man, man the head of a woman. That's how the authority rules. A woman is to be submissive to the man is to be submissive to Christ, Christ is to God. That's the divine authority that rules it. Johnny with Liz, welcome to the building. How are you doing? I am so glad to have you here today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming. Today's topic is, what is a marriage covenant? Did you make a marriage covenant? So right now we are trying to grab understand what a marriage covenant is. Bibi Physiofood made a comment that husband and wife and God only if made in the right way. Only if done in the right way. So we are trying to understand the setup of a covenant. A covenant is an agreement between man and God that brings about a relationship of commitment. So we are seeing the characteristics of a covenant. A covenant is a legal, divine agreement. A covenant is governed by God. A covenant is for life. A covenant is not to be broken. A covenant is not to be broken. A covenant is for life. And Bibi, coming back to what Bibi said, is not come, we stay or see how it's going to be. That's true, because when you are in front of the minister, I've been to several weddings. Those vows usually flow as though maybe it doesn't usually, the ones that I've attended, it always going in the same direction. Always goes like, I will love and cherish in sickness and in health, for better and for worse. It means that if this life goes really, really well, we are going to do it together. If it goes really, really bad, we are all in it together. But we take it, and then later on, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years later, we think that things are not going the way we thought. But think about it, we had declared that for better, for worse. TV Nectic, hi host, welcome to the building. Welcome to the building. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming, TV Nectic. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining the stream. If it are choosing TV, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. Welcome to the live stream. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Today's topic is, what is a marriage covenant? Did you make a marriage covenant? So we are responding to BB Physio Food's comment that says it's not a camus day, and we're seeing how much people recite these marital vows on the day of their wedding, and as soon as they get involved in violence, as Cobbs then say, the vow ends right there. Meanwhile, they had declared that in sickness and in health, for better, for worse, they were going to abide in this covenant. And we have seen that a covenant is an agreement which brings about a relationship of commitment between man and God. So now I'm trying to read the comments. It might not be for life in some cases, especially if violence is involved. Thank you for that, Cobbs. Then today, I just want us to see what is a covenant, because it's a very vast topic that we cannot even cover all its aspects today. What is a marriage covenant? Let's just understand what is a marriage covenant before we even go into breaking it or not breaking it, or is it breaking. Let's even just understand what a covenant is, because a lot of people get into this covenant without actually knowing what they are getting into. Keep those comments coming, guys, because when the comments come, that I'm able to talk. When the comments are coming, that's how I can be able to respond to them and keep talking. We have 12 people in the building and 7 likes. Thank you so much. Don't forget to give the host a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. So a marriage covenant is not come will stay, like Baby said. A marriage covenant is between man, woman, and God. A lot of people get into this covenant without actually understanding how it is, what is it, because at the moment you stand in front of the priest and you are saying it is for life, it is for life, God is sealing it in heaven. We know that, like in the Bible, God has made a couple of covenants, and each covenant is sealed. And we see that the covenant is sealed. Sometimes it involves blood seal in it. The covenant of Abraham is sealed by blood, circumcision. The covenant of salvation through Jesus Christ is sealed by shedding blood on the cross. Even the covenant of marriage is sealed by blood, by the shed of blood, no matter how small it is. So you get into this covenant without understanding what you are going into it. It is very important for us to understand what is the covenant of marriage. What is the marriage covenant? Just like Bibi had said, a lot of people sometimes get involved in illegitimate covenant with people. Like when even the Bible said that when you sleep with a prostitute, that's an illegitimate covenant. You are having an illegitimate seal, an illegitimate bond with that prostitute. You are using something that is used to 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 seal divine covenant, using it illegitimately or illegally. Some people make this covenant without commitment. They go into it for particular interests. Along the way, the interest is no longer there and problems begins to arise. Thank you, Ifi Achuism. I really, really appreciate that comment. Some people make this covenant without commitment. They go into it for a particular interest. And along the way, when things don't go the way they think, they start to back up. It's just as they are playing with this covenant of marriage. They take it as a child play, as a joke. You stand in front of a minister and you are making solemn declaration, I do. God is the authority here, and they're asking you all these questions. Shall you love and cherish? I will love and cherish. I will in sickness and in health. And you are making all these declarations, and you put your seal, I do, and you sign, and there are witnesses, and you are claiming that you don't have commitment. You don't know what you are getting yourself into. You know that God Himself has said in Malachi that He was the witness between you and the wife of your covenant. He was the witness between you and the wife of your covenant when you were making those declarations. So you cannot stand to claim ignorance that I didn't have commitment or I did, because that's exactly what you were saying when you were in front of the minister. And you know that God Himself being the witness of marriage, and you know that a witness is a legal accuser. A witness is a legal accuser when it's that somebody stands witness against or for you. If he say I'm cooking, I will be listening, sis. Thank you so much. We are together. Guys, keep the comments coming. Keep the comments coming. Keep the comments coming. It's when the comments come that I'm able to say something about it. Remember, we put out the topic, we chat about it, we hear what you say, and we also see what the Bible says. We also hear what the Bible says. Keep the comments coming, guys. They say the Lord, Malachi 2:14 says, for the Lord has been witness between you and the wife of your youth. So God Himself was a witness between you and the wife of your youth. And sometimes, like if He said, people are playing around with the covenant of marriage, and then they go to church to pray. They lift up their hands, they are crying, they are worshiping, and they are asking themselves why God is not answering them. They are wondering why God is not answering them. Meanwhile, God has said also in the book of Malachi that you ask why therefore? It's because you have dealt treacherously with the wife of your youth. If you read Malachi chapter 2, you see that God says that you have dealt treacherously with the wife of your youth, which was the wife which He was witness, and which is the wife of your youth, and you put her away. And He says that He hates divorce. Marriage is a wonderful thing. If He says marriage is a wonderful thing, don't go into it if you are not sure. Thank you, Ify. Marriage is a wonderful thing, but a lot of people do not grasp the concept of this covenant. That is why you see people play around. They carry the seal of marriage, which is intercourse, and joke with it around, commercialize it around, do everything they want to do with it, and not knowing what they are getting against themselves. And very soon, you wonder why your prayers are not answered. You wonder why you are crying and God is not coming to your help, because you have dealt treacherously with a covenant. Thank you, Cobbs. Then Cobbs then says, don't forget to thumbs up the host. We have 10 amazing people in the stream, and we have 10 thumbs up. Yay! Thank you so much, guys. The moment you say, you and your mate say, I do, come on, it's stamped in heaven. So if they at the time now, like Cobbs then said that, like if he said that when the interest is over, you go now, instead of looking at the divine, looking up to the divine authority that established it at the first place, you go looking for a judge. And the Bible has said that what God has put together, let no man put asunder. They go in for particular interest. When that interest is no longer there, they go looking for a judge and ask the judge to put asunder what God has put together. We are still in the basic understanding of a covenant. Do not go into a covenant if you don't really understand what it is. the best position to be when going into a covenant is to be at a position when you internally know that you have burnt all the bridges behind you, that there is no option and there is no alternative. As I'm going into this covenant, when you go into that covenant with that mindset, you are able to settle down and work out things for that covenant to work. Our God is a covenant keeping God. Our God is a covenant keeping God. And we are made in the image of God. But a marriage that is not a Christian one is a different thing. Thank you, Cobbs, then, for that comment. Bibi says, I'm at the background braiding hair holes. No problem. Are you braiding the baby's hair? Thank you so much for listening from the background. What I am talking here, Cobbs, then, I'm talking about Christian marriage. What is a marriage covenant? That's why I've said that if we have to go to those other branches, it's not going, this topic will not finish here today. Let's even first understand. Do Christians even understand what a marriage covenant is? Marriage is a covenant between man, woman, and God. We have to know and understand that marriage is a strong vow that you are not making solely to your partner, but also to God, and we must be careful. Thank you, Emitonia. And usually, when I attend wedding ceremonies, I hear at the end of the verse, you say, God help us. Means God is the soul, that you seal it with God. Thank you, Cobson, for the comment. And I just want to emphasize that today we are talking. Let's just remain on Christian marriage covenant. Christian marriage covenant. I don't want to go into marriage that is non-Christian. Let's talk about Christian marriage covenant. Yeah. Do Christians even understand what a covenant is? In sickness, in health, for better, for worse. I was just saying that before going into a covenant, it's better to be in a position that I have no backup. I have no option to go back. All the bridges behind me are burnt. Let's even just do basic understanding of this covenant. Is it just saying the vows without any commitment in you stand there and God is there, the minister is there, the congregation is there to witness, and you are not serious about it, so that you can go out at any time and break it if your interests are not fulfilled? If you go into this covenant knowing that it is a godly sealed covenant, you know that sometimes in the home it's not only about you and your spouse, it has to be about God. It has to be about God. And if there's an issue, go back to the author, go back to God. Let's not take extremes today. That's the topic for another day. Let's not go to, let's just take the basic one. When there is an issue, when interest is no more there, where do you go to? Who do you consult first when you have an issue in your marriage? God is the authority of a divine, legal, covenanted marriage. When you have problems there, who do you go to? Do you go to your friends and blackmail your spouse, or do you go to the judge, or do you go to the authority that established it in the first place? TV Neti say it depends on individuals, because before going into marriage, we need to understand what we are doing into standing before your spouse, making that promise. We should understand that God is involved. Thank you, TV Neti. That's it. You have to understand that this matter like this, God is involved in this matter. And that is not a play matter that if you go tomorrow, you who declared in sickness and in health, once you see sickness, you run to the judge down the street. Once you said in poverty, in riches and in poverty, when you see poverty, you run to the judge, and then you start dividing property. Or when you see for worse instead of better, you run to the street and start seeking someone else's advice about a legal divine covenant. Who do you consult first when you have issues in that covenant relationship? That's the thing, that most of the time we are in this covenant, but the first person we consult is not the hierarchy that had established it. It's just like you are at work and you have a boss. You have an issue. Sorry, guys, sorry. Sorry about that. You have an issue at work. Instead of contacting your boss, you run to your mama at home who has nothing to do about the hierarchy at your job. Your mom can only talk, but she cannot make any decision at your job. So you have to know how to follow the hierarchy, the established hierarchy. Who do we contact first when we have an issue in the marriage? So a lot of times, the breaking of this covenant comes when we do not turn back to the author of the marriage. He is the last. So sometimes we do not even go back to him, and we have contacted every other person. We have already told our friends, we have told our neighbors, we have told our friends, neighbors, and then sometimes we run down the streets and grab an attorney, but we have never involve God or even mention it to God that God, this relationship of yours that you establish, this covenant of yours that I'm having in my hands, if you do not come to my help, it's about to be broken. Have you ever said that to God in a case of crisis? Have you ever really presented that covenant back to the author of that covenant? God is a covenant keeping God, and we are at the image of God. If he says that God is the right person to turn to in prayers first. Thank you, Ife. But we see that if we look at most cases, we will see that a lot of people who have issues of breaking covenant is usually because God is usually not part of the picture when there is a situation. God is usually not part of the picture when there are challenges. Hello, Blue Jeans Network is in the building. Welcome to the Blue Jeans Network. We are so happy to have you here today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see you today. Our topic is, what is a marriage covenant? Did you make a marriage covenant? No, it's not a silent stream. Do you hear me? It's not a silent stream. I hope you can hear me, Blue Jeans. You don't hear? Maybe you have to check your mic. Oh yeah, the host is right there. You can hear me, Blue Jeans. Oh my gosh. When you come in, Blue Jeans, you always come in with a moment. Today, Blue Jeans, the topic is, what is marriage? What is a marriage covenant? Blue Jeans, what is a marriage covenant, and did you make one? What do you understand by a marriage covenant? I earlier said that a marriage covenant is an agreement between man and God that brings a relationship of commitment. Excuse me. Blue Jeans Network, is this not how you do your own LS? Don't mind Blue Jeans. Leave Blue Jeans. I understand him. We understand each other. So, Blue Jeans, what is a marriage covenant? And please be serious with the response. Don't play with this one because it's a serious affair. God is involved. What is a marriage covenant? Just be sincere for a little bit and tell us what a marriage covenant is, Blue Jeans. And before you came in, we were saying how usually people get into this covenant without knowing what it is. So today we are just examining covenant in its basic understanding, because we don't want to go to the details. It's a vast topic that we cannot all explore today. It has a lot, it's a very large topic. Today we just want to know, do we even understand what a marriage covenant is? Ife Achuism said that God is the right person to turn to when we have a challenge in the marriage covenant. Cobbs then said that take it back to the originator of marriage. When an item breaks down, you either go to the manual, thank you, the Bible, or you take it to the factory, God, in prayer. The first should be God. Thank you so much. Marriage covenant, oh my God. Villages, oh my God. I'm not going to read your comment. You have come. You have come. I asked you to be serious for a little bit. Blue Jeans, be serious for a little bit. You have to do marriage covenant 101. Blue Jeans, listen to this, okay? A marriage covenant is an agreement which brings about a relationship of commitment between man and God, okay? So usually you stand in front of the pastor or the minister and you're saying, I do. Everything they say, you say, I do. You don't, in your mind, you are thinking honeymoon. In God's mind, He's thinking covenant. When you leave that place, God is living with you. When you go during worst time, you start running to a guy down the street. You run to your neighbor. You run to your mom. You run to your dad. And then the author of the marriage himself, you do not go to him. Cobbs then said, take it back to the originator of the marriage. When an item breaks down, you either you either go to the manual, which is the Bible, or you take it to the factory, to God in prayer. The first should be God. Do you even realize that I am not a content creator? Welcome to the building. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you joining the live stream. Do not forget to thumbs up the host. Guys, we have 15 amazing people in the building. Thank you so much. Nancy Victor is here. Hello, host. Hello, everyone. Welcome, Nancy Victor. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see you. Thank you for joining us this morning. Comes Destin Nancy Victor is a celebrity. Thank you so much for joining us. Young Chanceline is in the building. Welcome, Young Chanceline. I am so glad to have you here today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, our topic is, what is a marriage covenant? Did you make a marriage covenant? We have seen that. We have I am not a content creator, is Bunny. Oh my, Bunny, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm happy to have you here. A marriage covenant is an agreement which brings about a relationship of commitment between man and God. It is not only between you and your sweetheart, it's not a business relationship between you and your sweetheart only, it is a legal divine agreement that involves relationship. When you are in a business relationship, Blue Jeans, you don't need to like the person. You just need to like the deal. And if you like the deal, you sign it. You sign it. If you don't like the deal, you move on. You don't need to like the person. It's usually not about the person. A business relationship, or a business contract, Blue Jean, is usually between like two parties on a certain issue with stipulations. Agreement is reached and it is ratified with signature only to the stipulated contract. But a marriage relationship is a contract and God. That's the difference. God is involved and relationship is involved. That tied together by virtue of relationship. Tell Blue Jeans so. Okay. Hey, content creator, thank you so much, my dear. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay. Yeah. Blue Jeans Network, I have to go watch your on upload again because I slept off while watching that last night. Tell me about that, Julie. I do that all the time. I did that yesterday to BB. To BB, I watched that thing and slept off, and then didn't I realized this morning that I didn't leave a comment there. Scratch the business part, but a covenant is a contract or agreement between a man and his bae. Where did you keep God? It's still incomplete. Where did you keep God? Where did you keep God? Did you take a covenant? Did you make a covenant when you were agreeing with Bae? Blue Jeans Network. I scratch business off, but I still need you to complete that definition. Until you complete that definition right, Blue Jeans, we are not going to give you the pass grade. Okay. The moment you and your Bae you say I do, in front of the witnesses, in front of the ministers. You are repeating after them. I do, I do. God help us. Know that it is stamped in heaven. Nancy Victor, I appreciate you, okay? Thank you for sharing me out. Oh my, I have 19 people in the building and 15 thumbs up, guys. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, I am so touched. Thank you. See, I'm running out of breath already because of this. God is forever constant. Marriage is not. Hey, virgins. I'm not even going to deal with you this morning. Did you take your coffee or your tea already? Okay. Please, guys, remember to thumbs up. Thank you so much. Keep those comments coming. Is when those comments come that I'm able to, talk about them, that we are able to keep the chat going. Okay. And do we even realize that when we break the marriage covenant, we die? It's death. We have 20 concurrent people watching. Oh my God. Thank you so much. 17 thumbs up. God bless you all. Thank you so much for coming. I was saying that when you break the marriage covenant, we see in the Garden of Eden when God gave commandment to Adam and Eve that they can eat all the trees, all everything in the garden except the tree that was in the middle of the garden, and that the day they eat that tree, they will surely die. Do you know what the enemy came and told them? That you will not surely die. You open your mind. The thing is that when they ate that tree, yes, comes then. I know we die qua. Okay, listen. When they ate the tree, they did not drop dead. That's the thing. They didn't drop dead as they thought that if we die, we're just gonna fall down here and give up the ghost. It didn't happen the way they were thinking. Thank you so much, Cops. Then, thank you so much. The day you break a covenant, you are in spiritual death. See what happened to them. They were sent out of God's presence. They were sent out of God's presence. Hello, Stella Secret Place. Welcome to the building. I see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Stella Secret Place. Our topic today, what is a marriage covenant? Did you make a marriage covenant? So we saw that a marriage covenant is an agreement which brings about a relationship of commitment between man and God. That's the definition of a covenant. Okay, so now we are talking about death when you break a covenant. God said that the day you eat that, you will surely die. They were thinking drop dead and die, but it's a spiritual death. The moment you break covenant, spiritual death, you go out of the presence of God. You go out of the presence of God. Do you realize that even in the book of Malachi, God is saying there that you are wondering. Let me read that, guys. Let me read that for us. In the book of Malachi. Malachi, give me 1 second. Let's read that together. In the book of Malachi, chapter 2, I think verse 14. Yet ye say, wherefore, because the Lord had been witness between thee and the wife of thy youth, against whom thou hast dealt treacherously. Thou hast dealt treacherously, yet is she thy companion and the wife of thy covenant. And did not he make, oh, hold on, one second. Oh, hold on, that's not the place that I was trying to read. I was trying to read the place that says, ye mourn, and let me see that place that says ye mourn and give me 1 second, guys. I think it's 13. Okay, this verse 13. And this have ye done again, covering the altar of the Lord with tears and weeping, with crying, in so much that he regarded not the offering anymore, or received it with good will at your hand. So many of the times you realize that your prayers are not answered. You are offering, you are at the altar offering, but God does not regard it. Do you also realize that even in the New Testament, you can say that this is the Old Testament, even in the New Testament, God has required us that you have to live, treat your wife with kindness, treat her like a weaker vessel, so that your prayers will not be hindered. When you break that presence, that covenant, you are detached from the presence of God. Don't worry about fellowship. Don't worry about fellowship. Don't worry about praying if you are not keeping that covenant. Don't worry about that. If you're not keeping that covenant, you will start wondering why you are crying, you are in tears, why you are weeping, and God is not listening to you. God then said that it is spiritual death, away from the presence of God. That's the meaning of marriage covenant. When you break it, you die. Your world is turned upside down. It doesn't matter how much money you make after then. When you break it, your world is turned upside down. When you break it, the Bible says, blessed art thou if thou shalt obey. If thou shalt not obey, cursed art thou in the land. You'll be cursed. If you obey, you'll be blessed in the land, blessed as you go out, blessed as you come in, blessed in the field, blessed in thy storehouse. But if you disobey, all those curses will follow you. God has given you the choice. Choose which path you will take. Will you choose to disobey or to obey? Will you choose the curses or the blessing? Boss Bay Kamsi is here. Hi, host. Thank you so much. Boss Bay Kamsi, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us in the stream. I appreciate you coming, my dear. How are you doing today? Today, our topic is, what is a marriage covenant? Did you make a marriage covenant? What do you understand by marriage covenant, Boss B? Can see we are just already at the point where we are talking about when you break a marriage covenant, which is between a husband, a wife, and God, there is death. But usually in the Garden of Eden, the snake told Eve that you shall not surely die. So when you think that when you break the marriage covenant, or the covenant of God, you will not die, you are just endorsing the doctrine of the snake. But the fun is that when that covenant is broken, there is death, which is you are out of the presence of God. Your prayers are not answered. You are no more in line with God's blessing. Say something, guys. We want to hear what you are saying. We want to hear what you say. And today we are just seeing the basic. We just want to do the basic understanding of the marriage covenant. Just the basic understanding of marriage covenant, because the Bible is recommending that you have to deal right with your wife of your covenant. You have to treat her like a weaker vessel, respect her, deal with her right, so that your prayers will not be hindered. It's a covenant relationship. God is involved. And even your prayers, Blue Jeans Network, for your prayers to be answered, the condition is that that covenant should be alive. That covenant should be burning. When you break a contract, you pay the release cost clause, and in some cases, money, alimony. Wow. If breaking human contract can be costly, who told you that? Thank you so much. First Peter 3:7. Likewise, husband, love your wives in an understanding way. Show honor to the woman as a weaker vessel, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, that your prayer is not hindered. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Cubs. Then and women, let's not just get too excited because they're talking to men here. If you go to the beginning of that chapter, we have our own dosage there. Okay, we have our own dosage, how we are supposed to behave towards our husbands too. So don't say, oh, you see, God has told the men that it's two people and God. So this is only the part of him of the man, so that your prayers is not hindered. Thank you for that verse, Cubs. Then I appreciate that. God will forgive you, but your spouse, good luck. I don't even understand that, Blue Jean. I don't understand what you're trying to say. God will forgive you, but your spouse, good luck. I don't know. So when you break a marriage covenant, your world will be turned upside down. Matthew 19:6 says, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. It is God's covenant, not man's covenant. Yeah, it's God's covenant, not man's covenant. If it was only man's covenant, we realize that it will end at the mayor's office. It will end with the legal authority, but it is taken to church to get God involved. And then you go out of church. You got blessing when you were getting married. Do you get blessing when you are breaking the covenant? God is no longer involved. You put God immediately out of it. That's the part that we are seeing today. Just to make us understand that there's certain situation in our community that could have been rescued. I know there are exceptions, like Cobden said. I am not disregarding that, Cobden, but it's just that we want to focus today even on the understanding of the covenant. There are certain situations that involve breaking the covenant that could not have happened in the first place if the first person we ever contacted in times of challenge was God. If that was brought to God, if God was even just acknowledged in that home. A lot of people, when they leave the church without covenant and bring it home, they put God out of the show day one. It doesn't matter when you put God out of it. As God got into a covenant, He's a covenant keeping God. He is in that covenant, it counts. You break it, you have break it. You cannot put God out of it when God was in it. That's the thing. In times of challenge, who do we go to first? And we know that when we break a covenant, that God is involved, we die. And if you are thinking that you will not die if you break a covenant, you are just endorsing the doctrine of the devil in the Garden of Eden. Because Adam and Eve didn't drop die the way we were thinking, that they'll come and see two cops lying. But they were sent out of the presence of God. And cops then has given us a verse here that is say your prayers, so that your prayers is not hindered. Comes and say, I'm not implying that you are disregarding. I was just putting out the context of discussion today. Christian marriage. I hope that's correct. Yeah. No, I'm not just talking to you. I'm just talking, to everybody that's in the chat. We just want to like canalize it to and focus just on the basic understanding of what is a covenant. Because you know that a lot of people are victims. We are not here to personalize. It is how much you understand the covenant, what a marriage covenant is, that will help you in your home. And the thing is that with the marriage covenant, as we hear, it is your ability to understand the covenant or your inability to accept it that will even govern your marriage. Either way, you are liable, because if if you know, if you understand the covenant and you do not apply it the way it is, you are in trouble. If you had an opportunity to learn and you did not learn it, you are ignorant. So to be in a better position is even to understand and grip this concept of covenant, marriage covenant, before being in the marriage. Are you in a marriage relationship that you are holding that covenant very lightly? You have alternatives here and alternatives there. Are you in a marriage relationship with a covenant, a legally divine binding covenant, that you are looking at options B and C when the authority has not been contacted? There are certain things that we can avoid if the authority of this marriage covenant is acknowledged in the first place. It is for us to see. We are not here to judge anybody. Mischief happen. Mischief, things happen. That's why we are talking about it. The best way we can learn is to talk about it. Mommy Stella's secret place. What do you think, mommy? Let's hear from you. Let's hear from you. Are you in a marriage relationship, in a covenant relationship, and playing with that covenant in your hand? You went in there just going to see how, if you give me this, I will stay. If you don't give me this, I will go. If you give me this, I won't stand. Or you don't give me this, I will. You have options. Are you taking it solemnly? Please take no Please take into consideration some of the man-made rules and laws, and as well as traditions surrounding a marriage covenant. I should take into consideration man-made rules? No, that's not what we are doing, Blue Jeans. We cannot take into consideration man-made rules. That's not what we are seeing here. Because when we take into consideration man-made rules will start to endorse man-made rules start to endorse the doctrine of the serpent in the garden. We are taking into consideration God's prescription. God has characteristics, or let me say, properties of a covenant. A covenant is divine, legally binding. A covenant involves commitment. A covenant is for life. A covenant is not to be broken except by God Himself. A covenant is not to be broken except by God Himself. But most of the time, we give man-made rules, give people the opportunity to break God's ordained covenant. So, Blue Jeans, do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like, I know that man-made rules are there around God's covenant, but do you think that's the right way to take? Man-made rule will only get us into more trouble. If the understanding of this covenant was governing a lot of homes, we will realize that more homes will be stable. I know that mischief happens, evil happens, unfortunate situations happen, but let us give God alone the opportunity to break His covenants, not us. If we understand this basic, just the understanding of this marriage covenant, what is marriage covenant? If we can really just understand what it is and take it as serious as it is supposed to be, homes will be more stable. You will know that I did not come here to joke. I'm here for serious issue, serious business with God. If we can just have that mindset a little bit, when there is a challenge, we'll go back to that authority. When there is a challenge, we'll run to the person who established the covenant in the first place, the person who witnessed the covenant. That's how it is going to be. Just the basic understanding of this, just to grab it, this basic understanding of covenant will save us a lot of hassle. Don't we see what breaking covenant is doing to our society? We break, I mean, we start breaking covenants, and it is going like the generational curse now in our community, guys. Let's pray for our community. We look around, babies are raising babies. Babies are raising babies, and it is just continuing. Abuse here and there, abuse here and there. And we know that covenant, when we obey God's covenant, we give a milieu, a favorable milieu to transfer God's blessings from generation to generation. That means that if you keep God's covenant in your home, your children will, and you teach it to your children, and your children keep that covenant, and they teach it to their children, and their children keep that covenant. We say it's a downline of covenant keeping family with that blessing. Not despising the fact that mischief happens. But my people, I just want to say that it is better to give God alone, the covenant maker, to leave that alone to him to be able to break covenant. Let's not take it into our hands. And having just the knowledge of this covenant and the commitment to that covenant will save a lot of marriages. When you are in a marriage, like Ife Atrizin said, when you are in a marriage for an interest, you are not in a you are not committed. You're like, this guy is so sick, he's paralyzed, what am I doing here? I'm just wasting my time here. You are not in a commitment, or things are going back, his business is not moving the way it was supposed to be moving. You're like, oh my god, I can't stand this, I'm leaving. Or you have seen that the man has acquired a lot of wealth, and if you go out there for a divorce, they will share it and give your fair share, and you go for it. Means you were not even in a commitment in the first place. We are just playing with covenant like that. It's not good. I think marriage covenant is the vow that was made between a man and a woman in the church or courthouse, banding both of them together. Thank you, Miss Stella Secret Place. Thank you so much about talking to us about marriage covenant. Yeah, it is. I like it that you said it involves God. If he says you are so right, a lot of people go into it and make it a covenant without having a single commitment. You are on a very slippery ground if you are getting into a marriage covenant and in you have no iota of commitment. You are on a danger zone, because it's high time the snake will come around to talk to you. It's high time there, my people, that we have to take that commitment serious, so that we can save our community and save a lot of homes. In fact, those vows that we take in front of men and God, they are not only contractual vows, they are covenanted vows. And that vow that you are taking in front of men is both horizontal and vertical. The vow is both horizontal and vertical. Noni Show TV, welcome to the building. Thank you for coming here. I appreciate you, Noni Show TV. Thank you so much for coming. The vows we take in the church is horizontal and vertical, which means vertical with God, horizontal with your spouse, and that those vows that you take are settled. God is not more faithful in one marriage than is in the other. Now it all depends on how we honor the hierarchy. It all depends on how we honor the hierarchy. Who do we take our challenges to? Who do we take our challenges to? Ify, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming, okay? And thank you so much for your contribution. God bless you and have a nice day, okay? Thank you so much, my dear. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Yeah. So, guys, we have 14 amazing people in the building and 19 thumbs up. Thank you so much for contributing in the chat about the covenant. I just thought today that I should come so that we can discuss about marriage covenant, to even understand the basics of marriage covenant, just the basic understanding of it and which position to take about this marriage covenant. Just the knowledge of it will save a lot of homes. I know how challenges I know how challenges marriage can go. I am not judging people, guys. I know how challenging marriage can go. Sometimes it is even life threatening. I know how that can go. I am not against that. But then, if we can have God, or keep God alive in this covenant, things can be better. Things can be better. Let's examine and see if we have not let God out of this scenario and things are going worse and we don't even realize that it is going bad like this because God is out of the scenario. God is out of the marriage and things are going bad. Let's just have a look. Have another perspective. Just see if your covenant is going wrong because you had put God aside. Check a little bit. Is God active in your covenant or not? Is God the first authority you run to in situation of in every situation in your covenant or not? That's just what we are talking about today, guys. Unless there's any other thing, I think we are towards the end that we should take these covenants seriously and be at a position where you know that you have burnt bridges, you have no other alternative, you have no other option than to make this covenant work. And then, if there is a challenge, take it to the author, to God, to the authority first. We take it to the authority first and see if things will not be different. Taste and see that the Lord is good. So, putting God out of, sometimes a lot of people put God out of their covenant relationship without even realizing it. Just look into your covenant a little bit and see if God is the supreme authority in that covenant relationship. Do you actually present that covenant to God or your relationship to God as fervently as something that you really want to work? Or you have option B, if you play I go. Or you say, by the way, there is a guy down the street that if I give a couple of dollars to him, he'll give me a piece of paper. How do you regard it? How do you consider it? How serious is this covenant to you? Yeah. Okay, that's how. In fact, that's what I had to say today about covenant, the marriage covenant. Guys, thank you so much for your chat, for your comments. I appreciate that so much. I don't know, do we Cops, then you always help us out with that. Thank you so much. If you can see someone that we can go rate, that would be great. Boss Bay Kamsi, thank you so much for coming. Blue Jeans Network, thank you so much for coming. Stellar Secret Place, Thank you so much. Ify Achuism, she's gone already. Nancy Victor, thank you so much. BB Physio Food, thank you so much. Emitonia, thank you so much. I appreciate you all for being. We still have 11 people in the building. So if Cops then can get us someone that we can go say hi to, guys, if you have a chance. Okay, thank you, Cops then. Tricia, Tricia King is live. Thank you so much. Guys, thank you. I mean, this is a tradition that we make. I know Tricia King. How can you say I don't know Tricia King? I know her. So I know Tricia King Cops then. It doesn't even matter if I know them, I always like this the look, even if you don't know someone and you visit them, give them a surprise visit. That's always beautiful to see. Thank you so much, guys. If you have a chance, let's just these 11 people will just move over there and say hi to her, give her thumbs up. And if you can stay, fine. If you cannot, say hi to her, thumbs her up, and then we move on. Thank you so much, Blue Jeans. I appreciate you. Noni TV, Noni Show TV. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you being at the live stream. God bless you. I hope we all learned something from the live stream today. Thank you so much. So we can click off on Tricia King and say hi to her before we leave for the day. I appreciate you all being at the stream today. Comes then. Thank you so much for all you are doing, for moderating the stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I also appreciate you guys. Cops then is the one who walked me through how to use this software to stream. So you see, today I'm streaming from a different software. So I'm growing in my YT journey. It stands to Cops then. I appreciate her mentorship. Thank you so much. I never knew how to use this, and she walked me through it. Thank you so much. Guys, let's click on the link and say hi to Tricia King. Give her thumbs up before we move on, okay? Thank you so much, guys, for coming. Let's click on to Tricia King. Let's click off, guys. Let's click off there and say hi to her. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Boss Base already there. Thank you so much. Let's click and say hi to Tricia King, guys. Yeah. Let's click off to say hi to Tricia King, okay? Click on the link. Your setup is amazing. Thank you, Blue Jeans. Thank you so much. Give that kudos to your wife. She did it. Thank you so much for being patient with me. I really appreciate. Thank you so much. Let's click. Thank you, Blue Jeans, for raiding. Thank you so much. Thank you, Cops Den, for raiding Tricia King. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Guys, let's click on the link and go over to Tricia King. Give her a thumbs up. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for your chat contribution during this covenant of marriage. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bibi. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Click on the link and go over to the whole to Tricia King and say hi to her. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, thank you for being the chat today. I will leave the chat. Goodbye, guys. Thank you for being here today. I seriously appreciate you.